Jiminy Crickets.
Jiminy Cricket is the name. I'm a happy-go-lucky fellow, always getting in wrong for singing my song. A merry old soul am I. Jiminy Cricket is the name. I'll be hanging around this evening. I'll be tipping my hat and telling you that Jiminy Cricket is the name.
Hello, Cricketeers, and welcome to our brand new show, Dateline Jiminy Crickets. We used to have a YouTube show last year, which we did 6 episodes of, called Jiminy Crickets Live. But we have a brand new show with a brand new name, Dateline Jiminy Crickets. And welcome to our premiere show. And how are you doing, Ruthie?
I'm doing great. Happy 2019, everybody.
Yes, this is our first podcast episode for 2019. And let me give you a little explanation as to why we're calling this a brand new show and why we have a name change. Originally, we did the show live. So that is why we called it Jiminy Crickets Live. But we were having a lot of technical issues doing it live. So we decided to, from here on out, do the show as a pre-recorded show and tape it or film it or whatever, video it. I don't know what you call it. Screen capture it. I don't know what you call it these days. It used to be film. It used to be videotape. I don't know what it is now. Anyway, we are pre-recording it and the previous evening, so we're going to be releasing the shows from now on Thursday at the same time as we did before, 5 p.m. Pacific, and that would be 8 p.m. Atlantic Eastern. And but we're going to pre-record it the previous evening, so this is actually Wednesday evening that we're recording it, and we're going to release it tomorrow. And the reason we're doing that is because our last episode, which we did on December 12th, which is like kind of a lost episode because I deleted it because of all the mistakes that happened. When we were about 75% done with the show, our stream dropped out, and Ruthie and I sort of had a come to the table meeting and decided we're not going to do it live anymore because of all the technical problems. And that's not the only time we had a problem, but that was like the biggest problem was on our last show. We were a little bummed out about it. So we're still going to do the show every other week, but we're going to pre-record it. Also, we didn't have a lot of people watching it live. We had some of our, big supporters, like my friend Brian Crawford was always joining us live and participating in the chat, but he was probably the only one who really consistently did participate in the live chat. So it was sort of like, do we really need to do it live when nobody's even really watching it live? We had like 7 people usually. So the lion's share of people were watching it after anyways. So we decided it's just better to pre-record it. Anyway, we're also going to kind of tighten it a little bit. We're not going to have 3-hour shows anymore. We're going to try our best to keep it down to 90 minutes or less from now on. And the way we're going to do that is we're no longer going to do our Down the Rabbit Hole segment. And there's a few reasons for that. First of all, what it ended up becoming is not what we originally intended Down the Rabbit Hole to be. Originally, it was supposed to be an off-the-cuff, round-table, spontaneous chat. And just due to the whole nature of podcasting, it sort of was not feasible to do that because I have to look for images, and it just doesn't work for a visual live show like that. So it kind of evolved into just like what we already do on our audio version of Jiminy Crickets, which is we just deep dive into a Disney topic. So I figured since we're already doing that on the audio show, why are we also doing that on the YouTube show? The YouTube show should be something completely different from our regular audio podcast, which we are still going to continue doing. So we decided we're no longer doing Down the Rabbit Hole, and we're just going to do the news from now on. However, we also are going to do our opening topics. Like we've done the Disney Top 10, the Jiminy Crickets Book Club, Doo-Dah Doings, all that stuff we're still going to keep doing at the opening of the show. And then after that, we'll do the news. So hopefully by, trimming out that whole Down the Rabbit Hole thing, we'll keep the show a little bit shorter. Well, hopefully a lot shorter. Because it was way too long.
Yeah.
And I hope that you'll still enjoy the show in our new format. And let me also explain that because we're a little behind in our news coverage, we haven't done the news in over a month, we have a lot of news to cover. So for this episode, we're not doing an opening segment, but this is not the norm. This is just for this show because we want to do more news items and still keep the time trimmed down. So for this show, we're not doing our normal opening segment. However, also, we're doing another show 1 week from now. And that, again, is because we're so behind on all the news. This week, we're going to cover theme parks only as far as news. Next week, we're going to cover all other aspects of Disney films and everything else. So, again, next week, we're also not going to have an opening topic segment. But when we come, we're going to have a show next week, then we're going to take a week off. And the following week, on the 31st of January, we will have our first normal show where we have an opening segment and a little bit shorter news segment, which encompasses theme parks and everything else. It's not split up. So now that I've explained all that, and I probably confused everybody more than I wanted to.
I hope not.
Did that sound right to you, Ruthie?
Yeah, it sounded right to me.
Okay. So before we get started on our theme park news for today, let's watch a very special announcement. Jiminy Crickets Live proudly endorses Concierge Vacation Planners, a Disney-authorized specialty vacation planning service. Concierge doesn't just book your trip, they walk you through the entire process, helping you plan out every detail, one-on-one, to make the very most out of your vacation while saving you both time and money. And the best part is, they charge nothing for their services. You will get the exact same pricing as if you booked your vacation directly through Disney. But in using Concierge expertise, you've got the added bonus of having your very own personal Disney Guru planner by your side. Both Ruthie and I are also satisfied customers, and we just can't recommend them enough. Visit their website at www.concierge.com. That's www.concierge.com, as in mouse ears. So when you book your next Disney vacation, be it Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Cruise Line, or many of the other Disney destinations available worldwide, contact Concierge Vacation Planners, and be sure to tell them Disney Chris sent you.
From the far corners of the earth, from across the 7 seas, the news of the day for the leaders of tomorrow. The Mickey Mouse Newsreel, dedicated to you, the leaders of the 21st century.
So, our first story is about the latest goings-on with the upcoming Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And Ruthie, what articles did we use for our story tonight?
So there's been quite a bit of news in the past couple of months about Galaxy's Edge. So we have about 4 articles that we used as our sources. So the first one is Disney CEO Bob Iger reveals opening month of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge by Bailey Abel from Inside the Magic. That was from January 4th of this year, 2019. And then we have another article called Exciting Star Wars Galaxy's Edge News from Destination D by Scott Trowbridge. He is the Portfolio Creative Executive at Walt Disney Imagineering, and that is from November 17th of 2018. Also from November 17th, 2018, an article titled Breaking Park News, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Revelations, New Attractions, and More by Jocelyn Bowman, and that's from D23. And finally, we have an article titled Disney Unveils Teaser Trailers for Star Wars Theme Parks, including John Williams' original score, Watch, by Michael Rothman of Consequence of Sound website from November 17th, 2018.
Yeah, and a lot of this information is available on multiple blogs and websites and articles, but these are the ones that we specifically read and used to gather our information together. So we wanted to give the credit there for the people that we got our information from. So, one of the big things that came out recently is I think Bob Iger sort of had a slip of the tongue. Because an interviewer asked him about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when it would, he didn't even ask him when it would open, he was just asking him a question, and he answered, well, when we open in June. Yeah. It was a throwaway line. And that kind of let the cat out of the bag that he's thinking, and I don't know, this is probably not set in stone, but I think they're kind of thinking about June as being the opening. That's less than 6 months from now. So, well, it's exactly 6 months from now if it's not June 1st, but
right.
It's probably June 30th that'll open. But that's not that long. And from what I've seen, because we've seen some of the progress as far as the what's going on with the construction. It does look like it's almost done. We're starting to see all the details of everything, It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we have to mention that this is specifically for the Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, yes, in California, not the Florida one.
Yeah, the Florida one is going to open probably around Thanksgiving, I'm guessing.
I actually think it's going to be later than that. They say late fall, so I think it's going to be in December.
Yeah, I mean, late fall could be December 20th.
Exactly.
Which is the last day of fall.
Right.
So yeah. Mm-hmm. But you'd think that they'd want to get it open a little bit earlier so that it's not like Christmas madness going on. It's like the busiest time of the year.
It is,
You'd think they'd want to get it open a little bit earlier so they can kind of ease into it a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I've heard that the hotel rooms are already being booked for that time, with people anticipating it opening around that month. Right. So
what happens if people book their hotels for then, but it opened? Well, I guess if it opened earlier, it'll still be there when they get there.
Yeah, but later, that'll be a problem.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's going to be a lot more pandemonium when it opens in California, because it's just like Disney World has so much space that it's just easier for them to handle the situation. But in California, it's going to be madness.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were several announcements at Destination D, which was a event that happened last November at the Contemporary Resort in Florida. It's sort of like they have the main expo at Anaheim for D23 every other year, and then every other year between those years they have this smaller event in Florida which they call Destination D. It's sort of like a mini expo. But anyway, they announced several things. Bob Chapek kind of let a lot of new information out, and one of the exciting things is they put out 2 teaser trailers and named the 2 e-ticket experiences that are going to be coming to Galaxy's Edge. So why don't we watch those 2 teaser trailers, Ruthie?
All right.
Okay, those were the 2 teaser trailers, and indeed they were teasers because they just kind of gave you a really small taste of what you're going to experience. So the first attraction, what was that one, Ruthie?
Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run.
Mm-hmm. So this looks like we sort of already knew this, but this just confirms that it's sort of going to be a flight simulator, but it's going to be a lot more intimate than Star Tours, and I think you're going to actually be at the controls.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking it's going to sound similar to Mission Space a little bit, but not in the enclosed space like Mission Space.
It sounds like a hybrid of both. Like, it's like Star Tours meets Mission Space.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I'm wondering if, unlike Mission Space, the controls that you press are actually going to make a difference in what the ride does. So, like, you have control over the experience, which would be really a first. Yeah. Unless you count the canoes. But it would really be sort of like a first for Disney, where the audience makes the decisions.
Like choose your own adventure kind of a thing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So that sounds exciting. And also, I mean, this is sort of every Star Wars geek's fantasy come to life, is to be able to fly the Millennium Falcon. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Yeah. Anybody who loves Star Wars, which is about 85% of Americans, is gonna really eat this up. It's gonna bring tears to the eyes of the Star Wars geekdom. Yeah. So that's exciting, and it's really exciting to see they actually have nearly completed the exterior of the Millennium Falcon. Now, what I'm thinking is that's just like a fake. You don't actually go in there.
Right.
The simulator, there's going to be like several simulators because they're only going to hold like maybe 10 people, right? So they're probably going to have quite a few of them so that it has a larger capacity. And they're going to make it seem like you're going into the Millennium Falcon, but then you're going to turn a corner and go to another building or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Adventures in Inner Space?
I was just thinking that too. Like, great minds think alike. That's exactly what I was thinking. So what's fun about those teasers they actually filmed them in the attraction. So a lot of it is completed because those were not stages. Those were not sound stages. That was actually filmed in the attraction. So, and it looks really amazing on the inside. So this is the, I think this is a computer. I'm not, it looks almost real, but I think this is actually a computer rendering, Ruthie.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because this came out a lot earlier. But this is a picture of the rise of the Resistance. So this is sort of going to be like a more traditional dark ride with some more interesting, new technologies that have never been a part of a dark ride before. But it's going to be more like a traditional ride-through type experience. And you get into a vehicle and go around and you see all sorts of audio animatronic figures, and I from what I've read in the past is there's going to be more audio animatronics in this attraction than in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of those rebel soldiers are going to, what is the bad guys? The rebels? I'm not like...
No, not the rebels or the good guys. The order,
right.
The First Order.
Yeah, the white soldiers in the white costumes. The stormtroopers.
Yeah, but they're not stormtroopers now. That was the old...
Whatever they are
name.
now, they used to be stormtroopers. But anyway, there's going to be like a whole army of them as you go through, which you can see in this picture. All of those stormtroopers in this picture are going to be audio animatronic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not going to have it's going to have screens, but the screens will be like what you're seeing outside of the spacecraft that you're inside of. So you'll see other spacecraft outside the windows, but the things that you're seeing in the space that you're in are going to be fully three-dimensional. So lots of robots and lots of characters, and I guess they're going to have Kylo Ren, and I believe he's going to be an audio animatronic figure. So it's going to, it's not going to be like disappointing with a lot of these newer attractions where it's all screens, It's going to be like a real traditional dark ride with lots of three-dimensional stuff, but they're going to mix in a lot of modern technology. Now, this is all what I've just been hearing over the past few years. I could be completely wrong. I mean, I've been reading and learning about all this stuff ever since they announced it in 2015. So, and I've seen the attraction vehicle. I know for a fact there's also been talk about how you might get on the vehicle and at some point you get off of it, and there's a part of the experience that you walk through, and then at the end you get back on a vehicle and do the rest. So it's like it's got all sorts of stages to it. Sort of like the Haunted Mansion in a way. Yeah. There's a walk-through portion, but this one you'll ride through, get off, and then get back on again. I've heard that too. So there's lots and that's really all I know. Like there's a lot of questions that haven't been answered yet. There's a lot of mystery still happening. So
that's cool, because I thought this was going to be basically exactly like Star Tours, like getting to a vehicle and all it is a screen.
This is all three-dimensional, all actual ride-through experience. Like this is much more like Pirates than it is like Star Tours.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool.
It's going to be also a lot like the new Pirates of the Caribbean attraction in Shanghai.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
So you're still in a boat in the water, but you do see some screens and stuff too, yeah.
You see screens, but you also see a lot of three-dimensional stuff. So anyway, in addition to all that, they're going to have a way that you can interact with all the things within the land with a special app, a Play app.
It's the app that they have now, the Play Disney Parks app.
Right. And it's going to it reminds me of what they're doing with the Harry Potter land, where you buy the wand and you can wave it at things and it does things. I think there's going to be a way to interact with the elements within the land using your Disney Play app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds cool too.
I think they should have something you buy that you like. But I guess they don't want to be too much copying what Harry Potter does. So
right, because the Star Wars equivalent would be like a lightsaber, and then people would just end up fighting each other with them. So
right. So California is looking good. Like,
yeah,
this is what it looks like currently, and it almost looks like a painting. This is actually a photograph, and it's almost done. Like, you can still see some scaffolding and stuff, but the basic infrastructure and a lot of the details are done, and it looks pretty amazing. And a lot of people were like, why are we going to a place that's not like in the movies? It's a new place. Like, I know our friend Will Dodson was disappointed that it was a brand new planet. But I mean, to me, this looks like Star Wars all the way. I mean,
yeah,
this is
definitely does.
in the Star Wars universe. And my argument was, the reason they're going to another planet is so they can bring all the elements from all the movies together, because this is like an outpost. This is like a travel port where all people travel, come and go.
Right.
So that kind of allows them to have elements from all the films involved in one place. If you picked like Dagobah as your location, all you'd have is Yoda and a swamp. You know what I mean?
Right. They would definitely not pick Dagobah.
But that's just an example. You want to have elements of everything, so this allows for that. I wonder if Yoda is going to be involved, because they haven't mentioned him at all. That just made me think of that. If they're going to have like an audio animatronic of Yoda, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Anyway, John Williams has returned to create a brand new score for all the different things going on in the land. So for the different attractions, and I think probably he's doing background music for all the, when you're outside, and maybe music for all the different shops and dining and drinking areas. Maybe he wrote some music for this is all just guessing, but maybe he wrote some new music for the cantina and all that type of stuff. So Disney put out a really amazing video that shows a lot of what's completed with the land, and also gives sort of a taste of some of John Williams' brand new score based on the original that he has been working on. So let's watch that video, Ruth. It's pretty awesome.
It is, yeah.
So that is the new attraction. Well, the new music for all the attractions. I sort of lost my train of thought. Sorry. I was so overwhelmed by what I saw. Right now we're looking at another experience that's coming only to Florida, which is going to be a special hotel. And there's some information that came out about that. What's going on with the hotel, Ruthie?
So, I mean, I don't know if this is really new, but, you know, they're just kind of, I guess, emphasizing the fact that this hotel experience is going to be fully immersive, multi-day Star Wars adventure, that you are going to be boarding a luxury starship, and it's going to be, you know, includes every moment of your day is going to be some sort of storyline at this hotel.
Yeah. It's Westworld
and I think
meets
it's
Star Wars.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think it's only going to be like a 3-day max stay, and I think you, at the end, you end up going to Star Wars land, so somehow the story's going to lead you into the actual land.
They're going to have some sort of a special transporter that brings you from the hotel. So it's all involves the land, and everything is all part of the experience. And I think the article I read said that there's a very limited number of rooms.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 stories. And the first story, I think it said only had like, how many rooms? Like,
I don't remember the number, but it
60?
definitely was, it's emphasized the fact that this is going to be, the hotel is going to have the smallest capacity of any hotel at Walt Disney World.
Walt Disney World. So that probably means this is going to be a very expensive experience. So I don't know how I feel about.
I feel like they're going to have like a long wait list too.
Yeah, and I don't know how I really feel about these types of things being exclusive to the people who can afford them. I really don't like that. I don't think that looks good on Disney. Walt wouldn't approve of that. Walt would want his thematic experiences. It's one thing for a hotel, there to be a luxury hotel that's only for people who can afford it. But it's another thing when the actual storytelling and theming and thematic experience is only for those who have money. I just don't know how well, I do know how I feel about that. I don't like it. Yeah. I think it looks bad. I think it looks, I don't know. I have a problem with it. Even though I know it's going to be amazing and the people who do it are going to say it's worth it. I mean, if you're like me and you live on a fixed income, too bad, so sad. I'll never be able to enjoy this experience unless somebody, you know, pays for me at this point, which is probably never going to happen. So I'm never going to be able to experience this. So it's just like, well, you know, that's cool for those people. How do you feel?
I mean, I also feel like the fact that it's such a limited space, that's going to make it even more exclusive.
Yeah.
And literally, I mean, you're going to, it's like, I feel like the people who are going to get this experience, it's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's the amount of people who are going to get this experience.
Yeah.
So,
it's just like a step up from the whole, you know, Dream Suite.
Right. Right.
Which again,
but yeah, I have
I'm
no
not
doubt.
Crazy about.
What was that?
Another thing I'm not crazy about.
Right. I know. I have no doubt this is going to be ridiculously expensive. And, I mean, and there's Star Wars fans out there that are going to pay for it. So, I mean, good for them. But I totally agree with you. But I did want to say one thing about the John Williams video. That video is amazing. And I'm so glad that he's back and getting new music for this land, because this land would not be what it is if it didn't have his music along with it. And so you're really going to get the real theming experience with his music playing, because then you're really feeling like you have stepped into Star Wars. And I think that is so awesome that he's done that. And I really felt watching that video that even though there's still like scaffolding on some of the, you know, the pictures and stuff like that, I really felt immersed when I'm listening to his music.
It looks
and watching.
Pretty incredible.
It does. It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love it for Disney World. I absolutely love it. I think it's in the right place, the right park. I love it for Disneyland too, but it's not in the right place or the right park.
Yeah.
That's my only problem with it, is it doesn't belong as part of Disneyland, and it should have been built somewhere else, but it's a little late now to be complaining about that.
I mean, I totally agree, because the problem with where it is being built is it's literally going to affect every inch of the rest of the park.
Yeah, and they're already removing trees and flower beds and benches, and it's like now because of Star Wars, you can't sit anymore. It's like,
exactly.
I hope you're happy with the fact that nobody can sit at a bench anymore. I mean, that was one of the things Walt insisted on, was a lot of benches. Like, he wanted his park to be leisurely, a place you could, escape and enjoy, and he did not want his park to be chaotic and crowded. And I mean, even when he was alive, there were times of the year when it was, but not to this extent.
Yeah.
So,
it's only going to get worse.
Speaking of making room for Daddy, make room for Big Daddy, Star Wars Land. They recently opened up an area that was kind of closed off for the most part, and it's actually a welcome addition, I feel. This is one thing I'm happy that they changed.
Yeah, at Disneyland in California.
Right. This is exclusive to California. So let's move on to our next story.
The Tropical Hideaway is an exotic trader's market situated in the crossroads of Adventureland. As you walk into the Tropical Hideaway, you'll come across our entrance marquee, which features a live waterfall, real tiki torch on top, and a little secret surprise feeding that waterfall from the very backside that you'll only get to see once you're in the venue. We'll be offering a number of variations on our Dole Whip servings, some hot food offerings, featuring a number of steamed items, including some really fun bao treats and some sweet lumpia that I think a lot of guests are really going to enjoy. If you cast your eyes skyward, you'll see birdhouses for all of our friends from the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Me, 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 me. Gee, 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 gee.
Visitors will have a chance to meet Rosita, one of the singers from our Enchanted Tiki Room bird chorus. She's patiently waiting on the dock for her boat to come in so she can start her solo career.
I must keep my voice in top-notch shape.
And I hope all of our guests have a good time in our space. Hope they enjoy all the little details we put into it, and I hope they enjoy all the tasty treats we have.
So that is the new Tropical Hideaway, which just opened in December, and it's already been extremely popular. From all the videos I've seen of it on YouTube, everybody's loving it. And one thing I love about it is that you can sit in the area and watch the Jungle Cruise boats go by, because the Jungle Cruise boats have always sort of been hidden. Unless you're on them, unless you're in the line, it's kind of hard to see the boats. I mean, it wasn't always that way. When Adventureland first opened, this area where Tropical Hideaway is now located, there was actually a long balcony on the back side of the Plaza Pavilion restaurant where you could sit and watch the boats go by. So this is sort of going back to that 1950s time when you were able to just kind of sit there and watch the Jungle Cruise boat. So that I love. Because when they added the Tahitian Terrace and then Aladdin's Oasis, all that riverside area was covered up with the staging area for those two venues. So that's really exciting. So Ruthie, what articles did we look at for this story?
So we used 2 articles for this one. The first one is titled, Now Open, Discover the Tropical Hideaway in Disneyland Park by Alex Dunlap, who is the Food and Beverage Content Relations Coordinator at Disneyland. And this article was from December 21st. And the other article is titled, Photos Video. Take an in-depth tour of Disneyland's new Tiki Room Jungle Cruise restaurant, The Tropical Hideaway, by Tom Corliss of WDW News Today. And this article is from December 19th of 2018.
Yeah, And I just want to give a shout out to WDW News Today, because they're one of our go-tos when it comes to getting information on the stories we cover.
Yeah.
Like they cover it all. They're extensive, and we love WDW News Today. So if you haven't checked them out, be sure you do. They're an invaluable resource for us.
Yeah, I like the way that they just short and sweet, kind of just get to the point. So they're really easy to read too.
Lots of short little videos whenever anything new happens. Ride-throughs when a new attraction opens. Like if you want to stay up to date on Disney, if you're not watching our show, or as a companion to our show, check out WDW News Today.
Yeah.
I check them every morning to see what's happening in Disney. So anyway, like we said, the Tropical Hideaway soft opened on December 21st, right before Christmas. Immediately a success. So, like I said, it's got an open air eating area, and you're able to see the Jungle Cruise boats float by. And what's really fun about it is that it's all on a little island. You have to cross over a bridge to get to it. And the water that you walk over was always there, but you could never see it because it was kind of hidden with all the buildings and everything they built all around it. So they opened up all this area, and now all those streams that were flowing, it's actually the exact same waterway that's at the castle. It goes all the way from the castle under the bridges to the what used to be the Plaza Gardens. It's the same water you cross over to get into Frontierland, and there's a bridge from Adventureland, and then it goes around and all the way into the Jungle Cruise. So the Jungle Cruise actually is the same exact water as the Sleeping Beauty's castle. You may not have known that. Now you can tell because you can see the connection now. But it was all sort of hidden for a long time. What's actually interesting is at one point, the water continued on to the rivers of America. You used to actually have to cross over a bridge to get to where the train station and the plantation house used to be. And the water from the Jungle Cruise went under a bridge into where Tom Sawyer's Island is. But they closed that off when they built New Orleans Square, so that's no longer connected. But at one time, it flowed all the way from the castle all the way into the rivers of America. It was all the same body of water. So, the eating area looks gorgeous, and especially at night. They've got all sorts of tiki torches and everything. It's really a lot of it's really well themed. It's no longer the Arabian theme, which didn't really fit in with Disneyland's Adventureland. As much as I liked the theming of Aladdin's Oasis, it sort of stood out. Like it didn't match the rest of Adventureland.
Yeah.
So now I feel like it's more of a cohesive Adventureland again, like it used to be.
Right.
So the other thing that's fun is all the details that they put in. And one of the fun things is they put birdhouses for all of the birds in the Enchanted Tiki Room. And so there's all these holes all over the place with little nameplates for all of the female birds, and then the 4 MC birds have, Jose, Michael, Pierre, and Fritz have one. So if you look up, you'll see all the homes where all our Tiki Room friends live.
Ach du Lieber, I almost burned up my Muppet.
So the other thing is that you can actually walk from the Tiki. So when you exit the Tiki Room, you can either go right into the Tropical Hideaway, or if you go one direction. If you go the other direction, you can just exit out into the rest of Adventureland. So you can actually walk right into the Tropical Hideaway when the show lets out, if you want to. And the other thing is, if you go around the other way, if you kind of turn around behind you, you can walk right into the Tiki Garden. So the Tiki Garden, you can walk right from the Tiki Garden into the Tropical Hideaway too. So it's all connected.
I like that they connected the two.
Yeah, and they got rid of that ugly elevator and did a much nicer area for wheelchair guests to get into the tiki room. It looks so much better, better themed. They had like that bamboo box. Remember that? It looked terrible.
Like, wasn't it like fake bamboo?
Yeah, it was just like, it was
like a bamboo print.
They did their best to hide that it's like an elevator for.
Right.
But now they don't need that because they built a ramp that's better themed and, so that's nice too. And then, of course, one of the most delightful things, I'd say, about the new venue is Rosita. So we mentioned this last year in an episode, but Rosita has never been seen before now. Oft mentioned, never seen, because she's actually a throwaway joke, a throwaway line in the Tiki Room show where they're introducing all of the lovely ladies of the ensemble. And they go through all their names on the Birdmobile, and then Jose says, I wonder what happened to Rosita, because she's missing from the lineup. Well, now we know what happened to her. She's out at the Tropical Hideaway fraternizing with the patrons. And I guess she's going to be traveling somewhere else. Like she's packed her bags and she's going to get on a Jungle Cruise boat. And every time a Jungle Cruise boat goes by, they sort of, from what I've been able to tell, they have her sort of synced with it somehow. So she turns around and looks at the boat, and the people on the boat can see her too. And I think whenever a boat passes by is when she'll tell a joke. I don't know that for sure, but it seems like every time she tells a joke is when a boat is going by. So I'm wondering if there's some sort of a trigger that sets her off when a boat passes. Possible. I don't know for sure, but it just seems like the timing is kind of matching it.
Well, one thing I just noticed about this picture is she's representing Jiminy Crickets here with her hat and cane.
Yeah, she's also representing Jose's cousin that used to be the Barker bird at the entrance to the Tiki Room, because he had a hat and a cane too. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
So we were talking about all the details. They kept a lot of the lamps and things from Aladdin's Oasis, and they made it look like a market area within the Tropical Hideaway. And they say you'll be greeted by local merchants peddling their goods. So this is like, I guess, supposed to represent sort of a bazaar where, so it's nice that they kept a lot of the elements from Aladdin's Oasis. There's also some tile that they kept. There's a rug that they kept. Some of the tables are the ones from Aladdin's Oasis with the sort of the mosaic patterns on them. So they sort of do keep some touches from Aladdin's Oasis, which I like too.
Yeah, that's fine, because it's just like little touches here or there. It's not overwhelmingly Arabian themed. So
right.
I think it fits right in.
I think it does too. And then they have this row of oars with nameplates on them, and they all sort of represent different things. I think one of them represents Merryweather Pleasure from the Adventures Club at Pleasure Island in Disney World. And then there's, I don't know, there's different names that represent different things within the park, sort of tongue-in-cheek references to all different sorts of the high tower guy from the Tokyo Disney Sea version of the Tower of Terror. He's represented on one of the oars. So all those types of people. Now, this is all well and good, but the main event at this place is the food, which again has been a big hit. And it looks delicious.
It does.
And I am delighted with the name they came up with for this, because
they didn't have to reach very far, did they?
Well, there used to be a venue in Adventureland where actually the Bengal barbecue is currently located, which was called Sunkissed, I presume. Do you remember that, Ruthie?
I've seen pictures of it. I know of it. I don't think I ever went to it, though.
I remember it being there. I don't know that I ever got anything from there. I may have, and I'm too young to remember. But this is sort of a take on the Dr. Livingston, I presume. You know that saying, Ruthie? Dr. Livingston.
Is that from a movie?
It's a real story. It's from the 19th century. There was an African explorer named Dr. Livingston, and he got lost. And he was English, and he went to Africa to explore. And he was a doctor, and he helped take care of native Africans that were ill, and he was sort of a well-loved and well-respected figure, and then everyone sort of lost track of him. So this other person was sent out to find him, and I can't remember the name of that other person, who was another famous figure in English history. So he searched all over Africa looking for Dr. Livingston, and when he finally found him, and he walked up to him and he said, "Dr. Livingston, I presume?" So that's sort of where that saying comes from.
And that part of the story is what has lived on.
Right. So originally the Disneyland venue was called Sunkist, I presume, and now Dole Whip, I presume. So I'm really kind of happy that they kind of gave us that little Easter egg.
Yes, that callback.
To call back to the past. So this is a counter service snack area, and they have all sorts of new flavors for Dole Whips. They have raspberry and orange, and then you can mix them up and do different things with them. And they also have some hot items, savory items. It's not all sweets. But here's a picture that my tongue is watering over.
Yes.
So there's a swirl Dole Whip with half raspberry, half pineapple.
Yeah.
And then there's a traditional pineapple one. And then this one, what do they call that thing in the middle? It's sort of a mixture of all sorts of goodness.
I forget the name of what it is. It does have a specific name, and I didn't jot that down.
Yeah.
But I know it has like dried hibiscus sprinkled on there and some other fruit. And I think that is...
Are those chocolate? Those sticks?
like Pocky. It's kind of like a biscuit dipped in chocolate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So then they have they also have these delicious sweet cream cheese, pineapple-filled, like egg roll type things. Mm-hmm. And then they have some savory items, and they have these bao treats. Mm-hmm. These are sort of becoming in vogue right now because of the whole Disney Pixar short. So people are starting, because to be honest, I never even heard of a bao before that short. I had no idea, but it sure looks good. Actually, there's a YouTuber that I watch called Made in Japan, and she's a Asian girl that she grew up in Asia, but now she lives in where I live. She's a Rhode Islander, and she's a very popular YouTuber, and she actually made the bao with the exact same recipe as the person who produced bao, her grandmother's recipe. So
cool.
So you can actually learn how to make the actual bao from the cartoon. So lots of tastiness going on there. And then they have this really delicious looking noodle salad. Mm-hmm. So there's some savory stuff as well. It's not just... And the bao, you can get it as vegetables or a beef flavored. I guess the egg roll looking thing is called a lumpia.
Yeah. Like a lumpia. It's like a Filipino bread dessert kind of a thing.
It looks like an egg roll, but it's sweet. And it's filled with cream cheese and pineapple.
And it has like a dipping sauce right there, yeah.
That dipping sauce is also pineapple flavored. Mm-hmm. So, I know where I'm headed to the next time I get to Disneyland.
No, this place looks amazing. The food looks amazing. I'm so glad that they opened this up because I can only imagine this Adventureland must look so much bigger now that they've opened up
I
that
know.
corner.
It's so much more open. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's really going to help because one of the biggest bottlenecks
Yeah.
in all of Disneyland is Adventureland, right around that area.
Yep.
So now they just have a lot more open space. So it was really something that they needed to do in anticipation of Star Wars coming
Yeah.
in, because that would have been disastrous right in that area.
Yeah.
So anyway, are you ready for our next story, Ruthie?
Let's do it.
So now we're going to talk about my favorite aspect of the Walt Disney Company.
I know, right? You were dying to talk about this.
Well, you know, I have never seen a Marvel movie, not a single one. Well, I take that back. I saw Spider-Man in the 70s on TV. It's 70s TV. Does that count? I guess
Yeah, I
Disney,
mean, that is Marvel.
Disney didn't own it then, but
Yeah.
anyway, Marvel Land, or I guess the official name is Marvel Superhero Land.
I don't know if that's the official name, but that's what they're calling it now.
So that's a working title.
Yeah.
So they made some recent announcements also at D23 regarding Marvel. And Ruthie, what articles did we use for this story?
Okay, so we used 3 articles for this story. The first one's titled Breaking! Full attraction, restaurant, and store lineup revealed for Marvel Superhero Land at Disneyland Resort. This is by Tom Corliss of WDW News Today. This is back from October 23rd, 2018. So we've been holding on to this story for a while.
We haven't done the news in a while.
Yeah. The next article is titled Breaking! Concept art released for Spider-Man ride at Disneyland Resort, also by Tom Corliss of WDW News. This is from November 16th of 2018. And then finally, an article titled Just Announced, Global Avenger Initiative to Assemble Earth's Mightiest Heroes at Disney Parks Around the World by Scott Drake of D23. And this is from December 10th, 2018.
All right, so Disney sent out a sort of a backstory to sort of explain where Marvel Land fits in. It's hard to explain. It's like they're saying why Marvel is coming into the parks, but it's sort of not entirely like it's sort of fictional a little bit. It's really odd. It's based in fact and fiction. Ruthie, before I go on anymore and get my tongue tied, why don't you just read what I'm talking about?
Okay. So I'm going to read a quote. This was actually from the Scott Drake article from D23 in December. And it's kind of like a explanation, like Chris said, of how Marvel fits into the rest of the parks.
Yeah,
so
they
here
have
it
to
is.
explain themselves.
Exactly. So he says, there was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people to see if they could become something more. It was called the Avengers Initiative. That original idea was now evolved into a brand new global Avenger Initiative, one that brings us, the next generation of remarkable people, together to bring our power and become something more. I'm sorry, that was to find our power and become something more. To see if we can work alongside the Avengers so we may all become stronger together. The Stark Expo in Hong Kong was to be a first step, a world exposition whose theme of a better tomorrow today was meant to inspire and motivate through technological innovation. However, shortly after it opened, the expo was attacked by the forces of Hydra. When even more powerful forces threatened the entire planet, the Avengers realized the Earth needs more heroes.
I just
So
have
today-
to stop you.
Okay.
The music we're listening to under this is just like making me laugh.
Oh.
We're listening to Colonel Hothy's March from
Oh,
the
yeah.
Jungle Book. Anyway, continue.
So today, to better defend the planet, the Avengers are setting up new headquarters and technology sharing exchanges around the globe to empower and inspire all potential recruits willing to step up and become heroes. In California and Paris, Tony Stark is retrofitting 2 of his father's Stark Industry sites into new hubs for training and innovation. Through partnership with SHIELD, PIM Technologies, Masters of the Mystic Arts, and the new Worldwide Engineering Brigade, the Avengers and their allies will forge new global campuses to champion the next generation of heroes. Who's ready to answer the call?
Me, I'm ready. What a bunch of nonsense.
Don't you want to be a hero, Chris?
You don't have to be a hero. Isn't that how it goes?
I don't know. I was thinking of, we need a hero.
That's what I was thinking of, too. I couldn't remember how it went.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, the song, Private Dancer, a dancer for
No,
money.
not that.
But that's not it either.
No.
Same era, different song. Anyway. So, now that we got that out of the way, so, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Marvel, so just hearing all that just makes me roll my eyes. I don't know. I know it's very hypocritical because a lot of people can say the same thing about Disney. They're not a fan of traditional Disney, and when I talk about it, they roll their eyes. So who am I to judge? But it's just not my thing. I didn't read comic books when I was a boy, and I was never into that type of stuff. So it's like, you know, I'm a Disney fan. Marvel is not Disney to me, but whatever.
But you can appreciate the, the storytelling aspect of comic books and things like that.
Not that story you just read. That sounded like a bunch of nonsense to me. Like, who's ready to answer the call? The Worldwide Engineering Brigade. Like, all these, like, names of things and...
Well, most of those names
Masters
are
of the
from
Mystic
Marvel.
Arts.
Yeah, that's from Marvel. That's from Doctor Strange, so...
Well, you said it, not me. Strange. Anyway,
Yeah.
construction has begun. We've only just begun to build Marvel Land. All right, so the location is Bugs Land. So right now, it looks like Stark Industries, like this cold industrial behemoth, has taken over
The future.
family-friendly, cute and cuddly Bugs Land is being taken over by the cold, dark, capitalistic Stark Industries. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they said that in 2020, I can see it clearly. You get my joke? They're going to be premiering the first phase of several phases of Marvel Land. So the first part of the land will be a brand new e-ticket attraction based on Spider-Man. And this is going to be something where you shoot at things like Toy Story Midway Mania, but instead of shooting darts and balls and rings, you shoot spider webs. Now, I don't know. That sounds dumb to me. Pew, pew, pew. And it doesn't sound very much different from other things that Disney's already done. Now, maybe this is just not a very good description of what it's going to be. Maybe it's something so innovative that it's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Probably that's true.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be.
hoping-
I don't think it's going to be as lame as it sounds.
No.
Honestly, it does sound lame, but I don't think it's going to be lame. I think
Yeah.
they're just having trouble kind of explaining exactly what
Yeah.
what this is going to be, because it's so new and different, and never been done before, that like there's no words to describe it. So.
Right. Here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they actually are going to make like the trackless ride system where you are like, you're basically, some sort of like a feeling of like Spider-Man flying through the air and things like
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
think
fine if you're going to shoot webs too. That's fine.
Disney did put a patent out on some sort of a technology for this attraction where it's actually going to be some sort of an arm that like the Kukla arm in Harry Potter Land. It's going to move you around,
yeah.
but it's a new version. It's a new technology.
So from the ceiling.
Somehow, yeah, and it's going to make you feel like you are Spider-Man and you're flying around and you're shooting webs as Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
that sounds interesting. It also
Yeah, that
sounds
does.
terrifying. It's probably going to be like a thrill thing that I'm not going to want to go on.
Yeah.
Kind of scare the bejesus out of me. I mean, I could hardly handle that Avatar thing,
Oh yeah.
and that was fake. Like, you didn't really go anywhere, it just felt
Right.
like you did. This is you're actually gonna be moving through the
Moving.
building. Yeah. So this is actually gonna be built where they currently, well, they not currently anymore, but where the Bugs Life show used to be located. This
Yeah,
is
the theater and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, this is a rendering of what it's gonna look like, and you can see the tower behind it, kind of in
Yeah.
the fog, so you can kind of get an idea of its positioning. And it looks like, I don't know, to me this belongs in Tomorrowland. This is what should be done in Tomorrowland. It looks very futuristic. Not that I want Marvel in Tomorrowland, but I'd like to see this look of the buildings. Because it looks kind of exciting. And
Yeah.
futuristic.
It does look pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one attraction that's going to be coming. And then what else did they talk about, Ruthie?
So there's going to be like a central hub that's going to be kind of like different buildings. So this is still going to be, kind of like an expo. So there's different buildings that house different, adventures and different like Marvel,
Right.
things that they're offering, different stories, different characters from the Marvel universe.
Right. Now, the only attraction opening in Phase 1 is the Spider-Man attraction, but there are other attractions planned for Phase 2, and then there's a Phase 3 coming, but continue.
Yeah, so Phase 1 is supposed to open in 2020. Phase 2 is supposed to follow a year or two later, and then I'm assuming Phase 3 another year or two later.
Right.
So you're looking at a picture which is kind of like a rendering of like the central hub area,
Right.
with the different, you can kind of see, it's kind of small, but there's like Black Panther on the top of a car in the middle of
Yeah,
that picture
yeah,
there.
Spider-Man's
So
up
there's
there.
going to be tons of meet and greets and things like that.
Yeah.
But in one of these buildings, there's going to be Doctor Strange is going to have his own show experience where guests will meet the Avengers in a round courtyard. So there's going to be some sort of show that he probably has with other Avengers as well. So that's going to be like a good, a big ticket item there too.
Yeah,
and
that's part
then-
of Phase 1 also.
Right. And then one of the big offerings for Phase 2 is the Quinjet, which is like one of the big airplanes that the Avengers fly in. It's going to be like a massive Avengers e-ticket attraction that's expected to be a roller coaster. So I'm thinking it's going to be something similar to like the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction they're building at Epcot.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what
But
you're
again, we're
looking at-
talking about probably like 2024 or something like
Yeah.
that.
What you're looking at in this picture is actually Hong Kong Disneyland, which has an Iron Man experience, which is sort of like Star Tours, but it's themed to Iron Man. But there aren't any pictures of the upcoming e-ticket attraction yet, so I threw this in for fun.
But I mean, you can only, you can imagine it's going to look like this. They've already developed this.
Yeah,
In
this
another
is
park.
a good idea of what we can expect as far as the buildings and everything. So it's a good representative of what to expect for that attraction, even though
Yeah.
this is representing a different thing.
All right.
But
So- Stay tuned for more. Whenever we hear more information, we'll talk about it
we'll
again.
keep you up to date on all the latest Marvel news because I'm
Yes.
so excited to bring it to you.
I'm forcing you to talk about it, Chris.
So our next story is about Disneyland After Dark, and they have had 2 After Dark. Is it 2? Yeah.
Yeah. 2 in 2018.
Yeah, they had the Star Wars one, and they
the
had
50
the flashback.
Yeah.
What was it called?
the
Blast of
date. Wasn't it date night or
something, but it was all like the old school After Dark.
the original,
from the 50s. Yeah.
yeah.
So they announced 2 new ones for early, so hopefully they'll have more than 2 because this is all the beginning of 2019. Ruthie, what article did we look at for this one?
So all of this information is from one article titled 2019 Disneyland After Dark Events, Sweetheart Night and 90s Night by Michael Ramirez, Editorial Content Director, Disneyland Resort. Is from November 21st, 2018.
Right, so they announced 2 new themes, and like Ruthie said, Sweetheart's Night and 90s Night. Now, Sweetheart's Night is going to be right around Valentine's Day, appropriately. It's actually going to be a week before Valentine's Day, which seems kind of strange.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they have it on the actual Valentine's Day? Or
Yeah, I
have
don't
it
know why.
have it 2 weeks in a row. Have it on the 7th and then on the 14th.
Yeah. Well, they might do that because that's what they ended up doing with Star Wars
That's
Night.
what I was
They
thinking
added
too.
another day.
It was so popular that they added an additional. And then in March, on actually exactly a month after, on March 7th, they're going to have the 90s Night. And like the previous After Dark events, they're both going to take place after the park closes. And you'll have access to the park a little bit before that, a couple hours before the park closes, to the rest of the guests. And then they'll all be ushered out, and you'll be able to stay till about 1 a.m. And the tickets have already gone on sale. They went on sale last November. So let's talk about the first one, Sweetheart's Night, and what that's going to be involving. I have a pretty picture here. It's not from the actual Sweetheart's Night because it hasn't happened yet, but Disney has, in the past couple of years, been doing special nighttime lighting on the castle for Valentine's Day. So I have a feeling this might be brought back for that event. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be. And they're going to have, special decorations, and they're going to play romantic Disney songs all over the park. They're going to have, they want you to dress up in your romantic clothes, maybe some Disney bounding going on with you can have a Mickey and Minnie Disney bound with your sweetheart. So they're going to have a royal ball experience. They're going to bring out all of the princes and princesses and Mickey and Minnie, all the Disney couples. So here's a picture of all of them that you'll probably see. And they're specifically calling out Eugene and Rapunzel, Aladdin and Jasmine, and Mickey and Minnie, but I'm sure you'll see the others too, like Cinderella and Prince Charming and Aurora and Prince Philip and Ariel and Prince Eric. I'm sure they'll all be there. They're going to have photo opportunities and, like I said, sweetheart-themed decor, romantic food, whatever that means. Oysters.
You know what it is. It's one plate of spaghetti that you're sharing.
Oh, yeah. Well, I bet you one of the photo opportunities is going to be that.
Yeah.
They'll have a cutout that makes you look like you're at the Italian restaurant. I'm sure they'll have that. And they're going to have unlimited photo pass downloads. So when you pay for the event, you can download all your photos with that's a bargain in itself. I mean, that's expensive because when I did photo pass when I went to Florida, just buying one picture was like $10 for one picture.
Yeah.
So if you get 20 pictures taken, that more than pays for the whole event.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And it doesn't cost Disney anything, really, to give that out. So it really gives a good incentive without Disney really losing anything for you to participate. So, I mean, these are a little pricey, but the park is less crowded, and you get all the special stuff. I would do it. If I was local and I hadn't done it before, I would definitely do it. I definitely would have done I remember what it was called, Throwback Night.
Yeah.
I would have definitely...
I would have done that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, so the other one they're going to do is a 90s themed. And one thing, I'm not a huge 90s fan as far as the music, but one thing they're going to bring back is the Disney Afternoon Avenue, which was you remember what that was, Ruthie?
Yes, of
They
course.
had
Down
along Small World Mall.
Yeah, Small World Mall. Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring sort of I'm sure it's going to be not the full scale thing, but they're going to sort of replicate Afternoon Avenue and bring out all the 90s Afternoon Avenue characters. That would get me to go.
Yeah, that would be really fun to relive that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be into the music and everything, but I would go just for that. And they want you to come dressed in your best 90s attire, which is basically everything in my closet already, because I haven't really bought any new clothes since the 90s. I was really into clothes in the late 90s. That's all I spent my money on, and now it's like I kind of got over that. So, whatever this means, decade-inspired food.
I don't know what that means. What food is decade and 90s
specifically
inspired?
90s food.
Yeah.
All I can think
Hot
of
Pockets? No, that's from the 80s.
is like bagel bites.
Yeah. I don't know.
And again, they're going to have... Oh, this is what really made me laugh. I can't even say it. A commemorative fanny pack.
Which are coming back. So I can see why they're giving that out.
That's so funny. And an unlimited photo pass again. So again, that makes it worth it. So if you're into the 90s...
Yeah. If they still have tickets. I don't know if the tickets are still available for this, but
you know I'm going to do something on my website for both of these.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
Look for my musical, because I did one for Star Wars and I did one for the Throwback Night on my website. So look for musical tributes to both of these after they happen on my site.
I'm just wondering, why did they go from like honoring the 50s, like when Disneyland first opened, and then they jumped to the 90s?
Well, they'll fill it in.
I hope
have
so,
the
because
70s
60s, 70s, and 80s needs to get represented too. All of them are fun.
Yeah, some more than others.
You like the 60s?
I'd be down for the 60s for sure. And
I know, not the 80s.
The 70s, yeah, but I don't know the 80s. Let's do like the millennium.
I'm down for the 80s. No, the millennium is too soon. It just happened.
Well, our next story takes us across the 7 seas to Tokyo Disneyland, and we have 2 stories about Tokyo. A lot of new stuff is happening in Tokyo, actually, and I'm sure we'll be touching on this a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But for now, we're going to cover kind of the 2 most recent exciting things that have been announced or exhibited regarding Tokyo. The first one is they announced that they're going to have a brand new Toy Story themed hotel. And this is going to be Tokyo Disneyland's first economy resort. And I have a feeling it's going to be sort of like the All-Stars in Florida, but more themed to Toy Story specifically. But it's going to have like the same sort of layout, the same sort of rooms, and same sort of, quality level.
Yeah, so like large toys and stuff to make you feel like small and stuff like that.
But then the rooms are going to be comparable to the types of rooms they have at the All-Stars, which I stayed at the All-Stars and I thought the rooms were fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not picky, but I thought like I could live in this room for the rest of my life. I enjoyed it. It was just so nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a special little piece of artwork Disney put out to make the announcement. Now, what we're looking at here... Oh, before we go on, Ruthie, why don't you read the story, the 2 stories that we looked at. Well, read just the first one, and we'll look at the second story after for the second item.
So all of our information about the Toy Story Hotel is coming from the article titled Breaking Toy Story Hotel Coming to Tokyo Disney Resort by Jim of WDW News Today. And then this is from November 28th, 2018.
And it's probably Jim Corcus.
Oh, well.
Is Jim Corcus from WDW?
Just known as Jim.
Oh. Well, I'm
That's
assuming
what it said on the article, so.
I'm assuming it's Jim Corcus, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure, but we can assume. Anyway, this picture is sort of like, just to give you an idea of what could happen, because this is actually the Toy Story Resort in Shanghai, and they have a Toy Story Resort that opened with the park. So this is the exterior, and then this next image is the room, which to me looks a lot like the same caliber as the All-Stars.
Yeah.
Only it has a Toy Story theme. So Oriental Land Company announced a family-friendly, affordable Disney hotel, and this is going to open, and this is going to open in 2021, 2 years. Based on Toy Story. It's going to have 600 rooms. That's crazy.
Yep.
And it's going to give, like you said, Ruthie, it's going to give guests an opportunity to enjoy a toy-sized world. So I have a feeling they're going to have the giant toys outside, but the rooms will be more like what we see in the picture. They're not going to have giant toys in the rooms, I don't think. They might have one thing. Maybe. They might have one thing in the room, or I don't know. But I have a feeling they're going to have big things outside.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a Toy Story section of the movie resort in Florida. So that's kind of what I expect it to be sort of like, too. So it's the room is going to look like Andy's bedroom. So that's sort of what the picture reminds me of, because it's got that wallpaper.
Yeah, with the wallpaper. Yeah.
That iconic cloud wallpaper.
Yeah.
And what else did you write down for me to read and pretend it's my words?
I didn't write it, though.
Okay, so read the backstory here, Ruthie. There's a little press release. I think this one is a little more tolerable than the Marvel one.
It's shorter, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Oriental Land Company has provided a backstory about this hotel, which has yet to be named. And here is what they said in their press release. Andy, the little boy who loves his toys, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and the rest, has embarked on the ultimate backyard project, a building to house all his toys. When Andy is called away by his mom, his toys and their helpers take over the quote-unquote toy tower and open it as a hotel for all the honorary toys of the world.
Am I an honorary toy?
I guess you are.
I guess everyone is.
Yeah.
As long as you're a Disney fan. Anyway, they're going to have, the reason for all this is because they're really expanding the capacity of their resort, and they expect to have a lot more attendance. They're actually going to be building a brand new park based on, they have the Disney Sea Resort, and then they're going to have the Disney Sky Resort, which they're going to be building. And they're also going to be adding a bunch of elements to Disney Sea, like I think they're going to be adding a Neverland area and a Frozen Land. Yeah, so
and Star Wars, I think they're going to add Star Wars there too.
I think they're going to add that to the new air park, which I did hear about that, but I think that maybe that got canceled, and instead they're going to be just adding more to Disney Sea instead. If anybody has any more insight on that, be sure to email us and let me know, and I'll correct myself on the next show.
Yeah.
So we have one more story from Tokyo, and this is really exciting. And this is the type of thing, when I see it, I just get very delighted. Let's watch this little video, and you'll see what I mean.
Today we're going to be talking about an exciting new ride attraction that's coming to Tokyo Disneyland expansion, Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast. As many of us know, Beauty and the Beast is a classic, timeless film that many people around the world continue to love and watch, and especially here in Tokyo. Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast is a unique ride attraction that really immerses guests in that story, and we're doing it in a brand new way that's never been done before. So we've got a lot of exciting work done so far on this project. A lot of what you see here is some of that environmental work, some of the theme plaster work, sculpting, and paint work that's going to be done for the project that's really going to make this story come to life in a very immersive way for our guests.
We're very excited to be creating the first ride-through attraction of Beauty and the Beast anywhere in the world right here at Tokyo Disneyland. This is the first time we've realized Belle or the Beast as an audio animatronics figure anywhere.
So with our advanced technology now, we can actually bring these characters to life and bring them off the screen and have people experience them in the attraction.
We've got a lot of animated figures, a lot of animated props. We have large scale, like our Beast figures, all the way down to small scale animated props.
One of the coolest things about working on this project is we got to work with the artists and the animators from Walt Disney Animation Studios, some of whom even worked on the original Beauty and the Beast film from 1991.
We're working with the Walt Disney Animation Studios to get their model and get their animation, and then our team here engineers them, builds them, and then we program them using the animation from the animation studios.
And every day I look forward to coming out here, working on a new figure, working with different teams to see these figures come to life.
The ride vehicle itself gives guests this feeling of dance. And as you know, the music of Beauty and the Beast is such a huge part of that experience. And this vehicle allows them to do that by giving them the sensation of actually dancing to this music.
To have them actually get that sensation of dancing or ice skating or interacting with the figures as they go around. So the vehicle feels like it's alive.
We're going to integrate the movement of our ride vehicle with our figures, with our amazing show sets, all inside that phenomenal Beast Castle. Everything will work together to seamlessly tell this amazing story.
We get to be a part of the show, experience it as if we were an enchanted object.
One of the aspirational experiences for our guests is actually to be going into that ballroom, that iconic ballroom that they know from the film, and dancing through that ballroom with our characters that they know and love.
Beauty and the Beast was my favorite movie as a kid, and it's just been such a blessing to be able to be here, bringing it to life with this team of really talented people.
I just can't wait for guests to see it. I can't wait for myself to experience it.
Well, there it is. And tell me you're not excited.
I am not excited at all. Of course I am.
But what's sort of a bummer is it's in Tokyo.
I know.
So we might get to see it someday, but not anytime soon. But anyway, my hope is that it'll be such a big hit in Tokyo that they'll open it in a park in the United States. And there is a rumor that they're going to be putting in a Beauty and the Beast area in Disneyland, where the Fantasyland Theater currently is. So maybe someday we'll have it there, which would be amazing. And a welcome addition, in my opinion. And let's look at some of those pictures. Right now we're looking at the castle, which is the entrance to the dark ride, not an entrance to the restaurant. And the castle is a full castle. It's not a castle up on a hill like in Disney World. This is the actual castle that you go into. And then one of the big scenes is going to be the Be Our Guest scene. And here is an artist rendering of it. Now, what was really exciting in that video to me was seeing the ride vehicle. Because it looks like a china dish.
Yeah.
Not this picture because of how the doors are all opened up, but if it was all closed up, it would look like a china bowl. And it kind of bops and moves around in time to the music they're saying. So it's all going to be synchronized. And it looks like it's going to be like a trackless type ride system.
Yeah.
But out of everything, the thing that made me just like almost go into tears was the audio animatronics that they showed.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'm delighted is they're not using that rear projection technology on their eyes. Because to me, that looks terrible. It looked
the light up face.
Yeah, it looked cool in the beginning when they first introduced the technology, but it wore off fast when you looked at it and you realized, wait, there's something odd about it. They have real eyes, these characters. And also, the way they move, the movement is so fluid. It's just like the latest advancements in AA technology, and it looks fantastic. Now, this is something Walt would be amazed and proud of and support of, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This is definitely something in the legacy of Walt Disney, and because he was very much involved with the whole inception of audio animatronic technology, and he would be amazed to see how far it's gone. Probably the most impressive was this particular scene with Belle and the horse, but almost as impressive was this scene with Belle and the Beast. I mean, they're fully three-dimensional, but they completely captured the look of the characters from the animation. Like, they did such a fantastic job of translating the animated into three-dimensional, because it really looks like the characters from the movie. And the movement of Belle in this scene, the way she moves is incredible. Like, she looks like almost real. The only way she doesn't look real is that she has like a cartoon like face, and her skin tone is sort of shiny like a cartoon. But if they changed her face a little bit, it would be like frighteningly real looking, just because of how fluid her movement is. It's crazy. So yeah, stunning audio animatronics. And these this is going to go in Fantasyland. They're expanding Fantasyland in Tokyo. They're adding a whole Beauty and the Beast area and a whole expansion to their Toontown as well, with a Minnie Mouse area. So this is a huge thing. They even removed a good chunk of their Tomorrowland to put this in.
Yeah,
So
they took like their Autopia out.
they took out their Grand Prix ride and their Rocket Jet ride in order to accommodate this. So I think it'll be worth it, though.
Oh yeah.
So our final thing that we're going to do at the end of every episode of Dateline Jiminy Crickets is we're going to do a few rapid-fire stories, which aren't heavily detailed but are worth mentioning. So this is our rapid-fire segment. And tonight we're going to do 3 stories that are not heavily detailed, but we thought were worth mentioning, so they'll go by quickly. The first one involves Monorail Green at the Walt Disney World Resort. What was the article we looked at for this, Ruthie?
There was actually 2 of them.
Right.
The first one is titled "Breaking Door Falls Off a Monorail Green at Walt
Let's
Disney
explain.
World."
It's not a breaking door.
No, breaking story.
It's a breaking story.
Door falls off Monorail Green at Walt Disney World, causing multi-hour service delays, by Tom Corliss of WDW News Today. This is from November 13th of 2018. And then update, Disney releases new details about monorail door incident, by Matthew Soberman of WDW News Today. That was from November 14th.
Right, so what happened is the Monorail Green was parked at the Grand Floridian, and a door completely fell off. And they had to get a cherry picker out to get the door all the way down, because it was hanging between the 2 tracks. And they had to reroute all the people on the monorail and waiting in line for the monorail to the water transportation, because there's no way to walk from the Grand Floridian, even though it's right next to the Magic Kingdom. There's no way to walk to the Magic Kingdom from the Grand Floridian, because there's a waterway that divides it, and there's no bridge. So they had to put them all on boats and bring them to the front door of the Magic Kingdom instead. So what did they say? The follow-up, at first they didn't know what was going on. Disney wasn't talking and everything, but then the next day they followed it up with a better explanation. And I guess what happened was one of those darn motor-sized scooters that those people like me drive in Disney World, I guess somebody banged into the door and it fell off.
Yikes.
Yeah. So there were no injuries reported. and guests were safely. I mean, they were at the station, so I mean.
Right. It wasn't moving or anything. Yeah.
Right. But it just goes again to say how desperately they need to replace these monorails, which they are planning on doing, according to some well-established rumors coming from the people who would really know about this, like what's his name, Bob Gurr. He actually let it out that they're doing a new monorail. So yeah, so this is just another injury to insult to injury for the fate of the current monorails, the Mark 7. So I think they're going to be phasing these out rather quickly, sooner than later, and getting new monorails, hopefully in time for the 50th. I
hope so.
I think they're secretly already working on it. And maybe this sort of incident kind of maybe pushed it up in the priority list. And the rumor is that they actually stopped the construction or the planning of the theater that they were going to build behind Main Street in order to fund a new monorail line. That other project apparently has not completely been taken away. It's just been put on hold, and they may still do it, but at a later date, because they allocated all the funds instead to doing a new monorail train. So hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah, so, they definitely need it.
Right, absolutely. So our next rapid fire story involves speaking of transportation, the new Skyliner. We have some more information that was released during D23. What articles did we look at for that, Ruthie?
So we looked at 2 articles. The first one is titled Disney Skyliner to begin transporting guests in fall 2019 at Walt Disney World Resort by Thomas Smith, editorial content director for Disney Parks. And this was from November 14th, 2018. And then the second one is titled Confirmed. Disney Skyliner gondolas will not have air conditioning, only passive ventilation, by Jason Diffendale of WDW News Today, and this was from November 20th, 2018.
Right, so the Skyliner has been given an opening period, not date, but they say fall, so probably December 21st.
Right, the same day that Star Wars Land opens.
Right. And this is the gondola system. It's going to connect Hollywood Studios, Epcot, Art of Animation, Pop Century, Caribbean Beach, and the new vacation club property, Disney Riviera Resort. So they have let it be known that despite rumors that the gondolas are absolutely not going to have air conditioning, and they're going to have a air ventilation system, and they're going to have darkened reflective windows to reduce the amount of direct sunlight. So the Disney is saying that this is going to be perfectly adequate for the Florida climate, and that they'll have plenty of cross ventilation and sufficient airflow. And I mean, the old Skyway system, which didn't have any windows at all, the one in the park,
right?
I never had a problem because there's lots of wind up there, and it was just all free open air. I mean, it was nice because you got all this air in your face, and it's sort of a relief from the hot heat of the day because you had like lots of air blowing on you. So, I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem, but I think what is going to be a problem is if and when, not if, but when,
yeah,
the Skyliner breaks down and people are stuck in it and they're getting absolutely no air, because the ventilation's only going to happen when they're moving, as far as I can tell. So that's going to be an issue, a major issue. So I don't know what their thinking is on that. I think that's a bad idea. I mean, at least with the old Skyway system, when it broke down, and it broke down often, believe me, they were open air.
Yeah. There was nothing to prevent the air from going into the bucket.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And you see in the picture that we have up here, this is what the buckets look like.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if they're going to paint them to have that on the outside. I think that might just be for the publicity image, but I think that they are going to have some sort of a covering on them. Sort of like tinted windows on a car. You can see through from the inside, but looking on the outside, they're just going to look dark.
Yeah.
You won't be able to see inside, so. We have one more story, and it's sort of a funny story. Funny in a way, but I mean, I don't like the idea of people sneaking around backstage.
Right.
Because this has become an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a video the other day on YouTube about some guy that was banned for life from Disney for sneaking around in the exact same place as this.
As a story?
Yeah, and he posted a video about it on YouTube, almost proud of himself and like defending himself and saying how terrible Disney was for kicking him out. Like, what are you doing going in places you don't belong? It's dangerous.
Yeah.
So anyway, as you can tell, we have a missing audio well, the rumor was that we had a missing audio animatronic.
Right.
And it was like all over Twitter and Facebook. Everybody was saying how Buzzy was stolen. Because even though that attraction is no longer operating, it's still there. They could dust it off and have it going at a moment's notice. They never removed any of it. So Buzzy is just sitting in there collecting dust, and there was a rumor that one of the what do they call them? Urban explorers.
Oh gosh.
Went in and stole them. But then everybody was like, how the heck could he walk out of the park with
a huge audio animatronic?
Without any, and it's, as audio animatronics go, it is on the smaller side, but it's still big.
Yeah.
And
so, it's not like a stuffed animal. It's full of electronic
and it's
gadgets.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be very heavy. And I don't know. So anyway, it turns out that it's not exactly what happened. They actually stole his jacket and cap and hands. So he doesn't have hands anymore, I guess. And he's naked, so.
Yeah.
But
poor Buzzy.
They're saying that these items would be worth about $600 on the black market. These are things that are easily replaced if they were in fact stolen, which is not even, that hasn't even been completely confirmed either.
Right.
That makes a little bit more sense. But people, just stop.
I know.
Don't be going where you don't belong. I don't advocate it. I don't like it. It's not right. It's illegal. It should be illegal. There's a lot of dangerous equipment backstage. I should know. I worked at Disney. I dealt with all of that. I learned how to properly be backstage. There's rules that you need to follow because there are safety issues, and it's just not where the public belongs at all. There is a reason why you're not supposed to be back there, and it's for your own safety. So it's not that big a deal to go back there either. There's not that much to see. I mean, it's not that I mean, who cares? There's plenty to see that you can see that's in the public area. So stop it.
The other thing is, what is this person going to do with this jacket, hat, and hands? Are they going to sell them? Because the minute that they show up on any sort of
what they'll do
website,
is they'll go on the dark web and sell it, and that can't be tracked. Yeah, that's what these crooks do.
So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just stop.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, that ends our first Dateline Jiminy Crickets. Do you think we did well, Ruthie?
I think so. We went a little bit over, but we're still good.
We're better than we've been.
Way
Much
better.
So, Ruthie, where can everybody find us on the web?
You can find all of our past shows, including audio versions of Dateline Jiminy Crickets, on our website, jcricketpodcast.blogspot.com. You can also listen to us on iTunes under the name Jiminy Crickets, that's with an exclamation point, and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. On our YouTube channel, we share updates to the Disney Chris website, including the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, as well as past episodes of the Jiminy Cricket Podcast and Dateline Jiminy Crickets. You can find our channel if you search for DisneyChris.com, and remember, .com is spelled out D-O-T-C-O-M. You can also join in the conversation over on our Facebook page, Jiminy Crickets Podcast, where you can not only interact with Chris and me and all the fellow Cricketeers, but you can also stay up to date with all the latest details of our many World Wide Web endeavors. If you would like to contact the show with any comments or questions, our email address is DisneyChris@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this new show format.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at DisneyChris73. And if you have anything you want to say about Jiminy Crickets, that's where you would go as well. Because I'm the go-to on Twitter for Jiminy Crickets. And on Facebook, it's either Ruthie Brown or Chris Linden. Look for us there. And that's Chris Linden, L-Y-N-D-O-N, as in Lyndon Johnson. I have a website called DisneyChris.com, home of the Disneyland Magical Audio Tour, where you'll find over 1,600 audio tracks of the original Disneyland and also a daily Disney Song of the Day. If you'd like to support us, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/DisneyChris. And for as little as $1, you'll get special bonus audio content. And we plan to release some special bonus material exclusive to our Patreon subscribers, including audio commentaries of Disney cartoon shorts, which we will no longer be doing on the podcast here on YouTube due to copyright problems that we've been having. So from now on, we will be doing those separately and releasing them as special content exclusively for our Patreon subscribers. If you are not comfortable with Patreon and would rather donate via PayPal, which you can do so as a one-time donation or as a recurring donation, just like on Patreon, just go to my website. You'll find all the links there. DisneyChris.com/donate.html. One other thing I'd like to mention is to be sure and click, like, and subscribe. Ruthie, do you have any final words for tonight?
I do. To quote Walt Disney, laughter is timeless, imagination has no age, dreams are forever.
And always let your conscience be your guide.
Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. M-I-C.
See you real soon.
K-E-Y.
Why? Because we like you.